Hey guys, Jeff Beers here on the 40 Finance channel, and today I'm going to do a really quick video just taking a pulse of the different stock market sectors that are out there. I focus mainly on the United States companies, so that's what I'm going to be looking at today. And I think the importance of this exercise is to just get a feel for what's growing, what's shrinking, what's leading the market. And the reason that I think it's so important is you hear a lot of quips from the TV analysts that are out there on, things like tech is too heavy, oil is beaten down, all these little remarks that they make sort of candidly. But when you get down and you pause for a second to go look at the sectors individually, you see that sometimes what you hear is not necessarily what's happening. All right, so I pulled this sector performance chart from the Fidelity website. This is a free thing that you can look at. I didn't have to log in or anything like that. So you can sort by any of the columns here. I took the 1 year performance by sector and went in descending order. I think to no one's surprise, you saw information technology at the top. Real estate at number 2 really kind of surprised me. And keep in mind, this is a 1 year performance chart, not a year to date chart. So this is since April of last year. And I feel like real estate, particularly in Q4 and entering January and February, real estate had a lot of naysayers coming out on the home builders and what happens with interest rates and the whole home thing is going to collapse. That has not been the case, and in fact things have gotten a lot better just from a simple interest rate adjustment. So that's a great example there of things that I hear on TV that aren't necessarily true when I look at the facts. Consumer discretionary, so I love this category. It's one of my favorites, and it comes in at number 3, followed by healthcare and utilities. Utilities surprises me a little bit because it's much more of a dividend long-term play than it is like a growth standpoint. But the sector is doing well. It's a sector that I don't know a whole lot about myself. I found it interesting with gas prices falling and competition for utilities going up. I just thought it was surprising that this landed at number 5 for the year. Looking at the bottom performers, you had the financials, bank and financials, energy, material, industrials. I would say energy, materials, and industrials, zero surprise on that one, particularly with the China trade. The financials one is interesting because we're not necessarily in a bad environment for banking and financials. And it's even more interesting because you'll see a lot of the pundits on TV are recommending banks and financials right now. And it could be an opportunity to buy low, sell high. I'm not sure. But if you did want exposure to a market that's technically down for the last 12 months in hopes that you could come up off of the lows, then financials is definitely the one. And the last most interesting thing on here from a 1 year, 12-month perspective, the S&P index as a whole is a plus 10%, 10.5% as of today. So if you're looking at sectors for who beat the S&P over the last 12 months, just simply as a sector, you had the 5 I mentioned earlier. Utilities plus 14%. Healthcare plus 14%, consumer discretionary plus 15%, real estate plus 17%, and information technology plus 19%. As a whole, I always like to go back to the last 5 or 10 years just to kind of get a feel for who's falling where. In the last 10 years, we'll go way back just for fun, the S&P is up 248%, which is phenomenal. Thinking about that 248%, you had 5 sectors that outperformed the S&P 500. Information technology is the easy one, up 427% over the 248 that the S&P did. Consumer discretionary up 456%, very nice gain there. Healthcare eked over the average at 279%. You had industrials plus 272. So industrials, it's sort of a dog right now actually over the past 10 years is still beating the S&P, so very interesting there. And then lastly, financials, banking and financials eked over the average at 253%. So there's some interesting broad level takeaways you can take from this chart. And actually, if you'd like to dig in further, you can get into the industries. This is the sectors of the stock market, but then industries would take like information technology and it would go in even deeper. So it would go into like software and mobile gaming and stuff like that. So definitely check out the Fidelity website. I'm sure there's other locations you can find this information, but this is 100% free and you can sort through it to your heart's delight. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick look at sector performance. I'll try to do this a couple times a year. And if you did like it, please like the channel, subscribe, share with your friends. I really appreciate your support. We'll see you on the next video.